this is the story on how the stock market and trading completely changed my life. So if you guys don't know who I am Jonathan Little, and I have been investing in the stock market for over 6 years. Now, during that time, I've tried many other businesses as well, but I've realized that the stock market is the single most powerful tool for the average person to get to the first $1 million and beyond. And I'm going to explain to you in this video the reasons why and what brought me to this belief and realization both in my life and with helping other students as well. So with that being said, let's jump into it. My story begins in my senior year of high school. This was 2019. Now, for those who are saying, oh, you guys, you're really young. I am really young. But with that being said, out in 2019, I had some very influential friends, teachers, and my principal at my high school. One of the most influential friends I had, which I'm not going to say his name because you could probably find him online, and I don't know if he necessarily wants to be found online, but we'll call him David. David and I sat beside each other in math class. Okay. That was our class where we kind of chatted, and he was a very book smart, very smart guy in terms of school. He really had to study. And I was kind of the opposite. I would never pay attention. I was not the best at school and I had zero interest in learning algebra. I was like, how the heck is this going to help me in my life? But the most important thing that I learned in that class was speaking with David and learning the knowledge he had about the stock market. Now, he told me something very important. I think we got a test back or whatever, and I got like a C or whatever. It wasn't good. And he said, Johnny, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it well, and you might as well get paid really, really good to do it. It doesn't mean you have to pay attention to this class, but dedicate yourself to what you're going to pay attention to and do it really, really well. Now, at the time, this resonated with me because I was a really good swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer. I ended up going to varsity university for 1 year, which we'll get into. And I knew what it took. I was all about dedicating to something that I actually cared about and wanted to do good at. But school never interested me. So what we did in math class was super cool. He was trading on his parents' brokerage account. And he started showing me different stock charts, what he was investing in, his portfolio. Now, this wasn't his parents' full portfolio. His parents gave him some money, and he was trading in there. And so he would start teaching me about the ways of the stock market, the terminology, and what he's actually doing in these market conditions. And this was vital. This was the first time I was exposed to the stock market. From there, as soon as I turned 18, the day after, I opened up my brokerage and I started investing some money. I think I started with like $1,000 or $2,000, something like that. It was pretty small. But the important thing to this, it was my first time being exposed to the stock market. Now, he also had a good background. His parents owned over a dozen nail spas out in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is where I grew up. And his parents had done really well, made millions and millions of dollars. He was very frugal, and it taught me a lot about business, life, and how to actually invest your money. So with that being said, fast forward to 2020, the year of COVID. I had graduated. I was in university, which most people call it college down in the US. I'm from Canada. In the year of 2020, I decided to go into sales. I said, you know what? I don't want to be a swimmer anymore. I have tons of fun with it. What I want to do is I want to make as much money as possible. And I really want to learn the strategies of business and investing that income to become wealthy over time. So I went all in. I quit university. I quit being a varsity athlete. And I went all in on becoming a door-to-door salesperson. Now, some of you might think that's completely crazy. And some people in my circle thought I was absolutely insane to go into this industry. Fair enough. But I'm so glad that I didn't listen to them. Because during that summer in 2020, I learned the most valuable lessons in my entire life. And most importantly, I was able to grab that money that I earned and invest it into the stock market. So at this point, I was 18 years old and I had made 50 grand or whatever during the summer. It was pretty decent, but it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't have a crazy lifestyle, so I invested that money into the market. Now, going into that year, I did some work during the year, still in the sales. I was trying so hard to learn the business world. And then I went back to sell door to door in 2021, and I had even more cash to invest into the stock market. This time, I started my own business though with a half of that money, so a portion of what I made. And I invested it into land with a business partner out in Waterton National Park, so right outside the national park in Alberta, Canada. So at this point, I had moved a couple provinces over. I went all in on business. I had my stock portfolio, and I also had this land that we were going to develop Airbnbs on. Especially back then, it was massive hit. Airbnbs, up and coming. It was a great thing. So at that time, I was following Rob Built, actually, if you guys know him. And I was like, perfect. Me and my business partner, we're going to build out this village of Airbnbs. And it was super, super difficult. I mean, we essentially jumped into the deep end and went to become developers, essentially, because it was just a bare plot of land. So we put the fence in, the road, the electricity poles. And about that time, I said, this is a lot of work. This is essentially a full-time job that we might not get paid for a number of years. And we were at the point where it was going to take either a massive business loan to continue that project, or we can sell and flip the land, and then obviously reinvest that cash into something else, or the stock market. And at this point, I was looking at my stock market portfolio and I was like, man, it's doing pretty dang good. And I haven't done a single thing. Like, I've just invested in stocks. I haven't done any puts. I haven't done options. I've just left it there. And this land has taken a bunch of work and all this stress to get set up and I mean, permitting and zoning and all the stuff. You can imagine the hassle. So fast forward, we ultimately ended up flipping that land, made a good portion on that. And then at this point, I'd actually gotten married during that point as well. So that was good, paid for the wedding, went on a honeymoon. And now I was essentially back at square one, still in sales, money in the stock portfolio, but I hadn't gotten to where I wanted to be. And a big reason why is I didn't go all in on the stock market yet. And this is a big lesson that I learned through this time period was if I just went all in on the stock market, learning how to invest, staying consistent. When the market dipped in 2022, learning how to sell options to capitalize on these things and just continuously dollar cost average, I would have been way more ahead than trying to play business in all these other different facets. So this is where things took a turn for the worst because in 2024, unfortunately, I went through a divorce. And so it took a few years to go through. It took about 2 years. And during this time, all that hard work into knocking doors, starting businesses, it felt like it all had gone to waste because I had essentially gone from this point where I'd reached a net worth of $100,000 a few times. And it felt like I had a $40,000 portfolio. I had a paid off car. I just moved into this home and I was like, there's got to be more to this. So what I did is I went all in on the stock market. At this time, I had still mastered sales and I was still doing that. And I got up to the point where I was making 20, 30, 40,000 a month, which was really good. But a lot of that money was going towards legal fees, payouts from the divorce. I mean, if you guys ever gone through custody battle, it's very expensive. And I'm glad that was over. But now I knew I had to really divert all that income towards the stock market to get my portfolio up to 250, 500, and a million as quick as possible. So that is what I've been doing. And the stock market itself is what's actually allowed me to save my life and change my life in both different ways. Because without the stock market, I would have lost hope. I would have said, oh my gosh, I've tried these businesses. I've tried all these different things, but working in the financial space and gaining those skills to consistently make profits, to consistently build my portfolio every month through option strategies, through swing trading, knowing when to sell the losers and buy the winners has been absolutely crucial to my portfolio, as well as learning how to leverage and manage different position sizes and ultimately when to buy and when to sell different companies and different sectors at what time. All of these different skills through the years, I just hadn't gone all in on them yet. So I'm so happy that you're here with the journey with me to learn and grow with me as well on how to master and grow your portfolio in the stock market. So many people come to me and they're like, I'm losing sleep at night. I'm literally not able to sleep. I don't have any money left. I put everything in the stock market and I look at my portfolio at the end of the year and it's gone up 11% or 12%, 13%. I was up 73%, 74%. And then the bear market came and I went right back to square one. And when people come to me and say that, I say, I hear you. I had to rebuild my psychology first to know that different markets aren't a bad thing. We can't hate the stock market. I love the stock market, and it's because it can help you achieve your goals and ultimately achieve the life that you want, to be able to quit your 9 to 5, be able to have that freedom for you and your family. Now, fast forward to today, I am super grateful to have 50-50 with my daughter on a great schedule and to really be present with her. And I'll maybe put up a couple pictures on the screen. If you want that type of life, to be able to spend time with your kids, to be able to travel once you're retired and really enjoy those golden years, this is exactly what I do. I give you all my trade alerts in my mentorship. I give you access to my live trading calls every week. Get to see my portfolio, it build with us. We can build your portfolio as you're seeing my portfolio build. And it's just a really good community. And I'm also here to support you within that community as well. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling like, man, no one's here for me, it's so much easier to have a community of traders that are there with you to help support your goals. But you also see, oh, wow, this person hit his goals as well. Anyone can do it. And so with that being said, I'm super excited that you're here with the journey with me. If you like this video, give it a like, and we'll see you guys very soon. Take care.